What's up, Pirates? Wraith here with Awakened TCG, and today we have the Yamato Locals video. I know, super late, but we got a top 8 finish on Saturday's online event. 1,000 plus players. We got 5th place. And so I was grinding super hard, and then I had 2 tournaments that whole weekend. So it was kind of like pick and choose your battle. Am I going to practice and be super prepared for this tournament, or am I going to make the locals video for you guys? I'm going to be honest. I told myself this set I was going to try super hard to, actually perform, and we got a top 8, right? So, goal achieved. I just wanted a second serial this whole set, and I got my second one. I got my second serial Shanks, and so I'm super happy. I can. I'm still going to try for the rest of the set. I have a bunch of offlines to go to, so I can meet a lot of you guys. I'm going to be going to Florida. I'm going to be going to Texas, and then Peoria in May, and then LA in June, and Texas again in June. So, we're going to a lot of events now. But anyways, let's go ahead and get right into this video. Locals video for Yamato. I'm going to be honest, guys. A little disclaimer. I personally do not enjoy this deck. Jimmy picked, you know, Jim picked 3 decks and I picked 3 decks. And so I got this one. I find this deck to be very boring. I don't enjoy playing it. And that honestly doesn't happen often, right? It rarely happens. The new leaders are usually super fun. I feel like this one's very it just you don't have many plays. You don't have many plays on a deck like this, and I just feel it's boring. But it could be fun for some of you guys. That's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't ever run this deck in a tournament, but that is my personal opinion. Let's go ahead and get into this deck list. You guys are going to notice quickly, we have 4 Onamis, a great trigger, Thunderbolt trigger, and it is a counter. Also a great banish card for your double attack leader. I did steal this list off of, a list that topped in Santa Clara. 4 Shuras. It's going to search our Holies. It's going to search our Ohms. It's going to search our Amarus, stuff like that. We're supposed to run 4 Mihawks. I only have 2 right now. I was using 2 of my buddies to complete this list. 4 Shuras, or Ohms, I mean, 4 Ohms. 4 Ohms. This card it's a great card. It allows you to be played off the Mihawk, which means we can go Mihawk, Ohm into Holy as well on turn 2, going second, which is just crazy momentum, right? Our 4 Holy. First of our 2Ks, we have 4 Hioris here. Hiyori, it sets up your life. It's a great card to do. Going you ideally you want to play on a turn where you don't got nothing to do. So like going second, turn 1, if you have this in hand, perfect time to play it into like a trigger body that we're gonna get into. We're running 3 Momos, which are blockers. If you play this, you can play this right after and put this back into your life. Not only do you get a trigger, you get this on top to delay the game. So good card there. A trigger body here, a Kiku. Something you can use and take effect for Hiyori if your opponent is at 3 or less life. Go ahead and play a Kiku onto your top life. 3 Cracker. This is supposed to be 2 Cracker. One of these is supposed to be a Mihawk, just for disclaimer. Cracker, such a good card to put on your top life going second. Your first turn, you Hiyori, put the Cracker on top life. Your opponent's going to have to deal with that. And you're going to be lower on life, so it's going to be, some trouble for your opponent. We have another trigger body, 4 Satori. We're actually running 4. Just an insane 2K that's a triggerable body. We're going to be running 4 Izo. Another great 2K also has a rest effect. If you're ever going for game and need a rest of 4 cost or less, ideally you want to be playing Hody Jones to get rest off. Running 4 Hody Jones. This is a very rush list. Hody Jones rests 2 things. You take top life, but basically you want to play when you're going for game, or if you can't lose next turn. If you have 2 life, 3 life, you're playing and your opponent has nothing on board, or you can clear board with this card. Such a good ender though. Such a good ender. We're going to be running 2 Amarus. 2 Amarus searchable by Shura, rest of 4 drop, and plus 3,000 to one of your units. We're going to be running 2 rejects. All these cards are your enders here. 2 rejects. Self-explanatory, one of the best yellow cards out, and then 2 of the 0 drop events. So one of these crackers is actually supposed to be a Mihawk, and then I think the other card is, I'm not sure what the other card is supposed to be. I know we have one more of these. It's probably like Maybe like a Onami, no Onami or a Kiku or something. Anyways, that is the list that we're running. Uh, Straightforward, very rush. High roll or go home. If you're not high rolling, you're broke. You're going home. There's no in between. Like, if you're, there's been times where I lose to this deck off the sheer fact that I just don't draw counter. If your opponent doesn't draw counter and you're swinging 6Ks and you see him give you 2 1s, okay, that's a great sign. Let me go ahead and take advantage of that. Or you swing 5 and they give you a 2. Oh, that's another great sign. Let me take advantage of that, right? So, little things like this deck can really take advantage of. Swinging certain amount of dons with certain information that you have. But that is going to be the portion of this deck list. We're going to go over some gameplay. It was my first time playing this deck, so please don't critique the gameplay too hard. I didn't have time to really get a deep dive into the deck, but it is a strong deck. Like if you trigger out and you're double swinging, they don't got counter. Like this deck, it just rolls you, and you can't really do anything about it. So let's go ahead and get right into some gameplay. So this is our first match. It is a Yamato mirror. So I didn't really get too much practice in beforehand with this deck, but I definitely learned how to play against it. And I have an idea of what we're doing, right? So I'm not going into this with no game plan. Although before we get started into what we're doing here, we're just going to be swinging all in face, putting on does he have a blocker? Because I got the first swing in. But I want to talk about this leader. This leader is in a good spot. It has a good amount of winning matchups, but it's very high rolly. It is yellow. You can trigger out and just win and steal games that way. Hody Jones, Amaru. I feel like the rush version is a very better version. There is so many different types of Yamato decks, so it's very hard to get a lot of testing on one certain deck. So maybe that is a hindrance to the deck. Just people don't test the same list that is quote unquote the best, so it doesn't get better, right? But this deck for me is boring. It's a boring deck. I don't really enjoy playing it. I wouldn't ever consider running it in a regional, honestly. But for locals, it's fine. Definitely a deck I would play at locals just to have some fun, because it's always competitive for me. So, that is fun for me. But, playing different lists for these videos is always a joy and a pleasure. So, yeah, as you guys can see, I swung. Yeah, let's get back into the game. I swung 8K, he took. I swung 10K, and he takes again. So I'm in a good spot, right? I have all of my life still. I'm thinking here he can, swing 8K, 9K at me, but he ends up going just 6K. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to block this, and I'll take one. I definitely would have played it a lot different, especially if he can counter out, because he knows I'm going to 7 Don. If he can counter out a 12K in hand, he should have definitely went 8K, 8K, put me on do I have the counter, and then he could have swung his next turn if he could have blocked that at 12K, right? But only he knows that. So he puts the blocker up just because I have one swing. And at this point, I'm like, well, I don't think I lose next turn. So I'm going to Hody and just go for it. So I rest both of his units. Now I'm doing the math real quick. I'm thinking, okay, so I guess I just, swing 5, swing 10. That's my only options. I had to take life because of Hody effect. So I swing 5 at the cracker. I wasn't confident in the win, but I ended up just going ahead and swinging at do I swing at the Yamato here? I'm not too sure. Yeah, so I mean, he just didn't have the counter, so that was that game. It's super fast. I know that was like a 4 minute, like 5 minute game on 2 times speed. So this one is a little bit better. I just high rolled a Yamato as Yamato, so that was a very fast game. Now this is Yamato versus RP Law. He won dice roll, so he goes first. So luckily, it's a good match, but as you can see already, he has the one card that destroys this deck, Shiraya. There's nothing I can do to, forego that card. That card just, as you can see, I swing 5, right? Because I'm not going to swing 9. He's going to block and do that same 1K. At this point, I'm like, okay, I have to establish a board. Like, there's no other option. But then it's RP Law, right? So if you summon a unit and he has a Gordon, a Raise Max, he kind of just bottoms it, and well, there was your unit, right? So he swings 6. I think I took that, and then he swung 7. Didn't expect that, but yeah, of course he had it. Bottoms it, raise you, draws 2. I'm in a rough spot already. I'm in a very, very rough spot. I don't want to swing here. He still has the Shariah on board. So I'm like, okay, well, the only thing I can do here is just get rid of it. So I ended up using a whole reject to get rid of it, which honestly hurt. And I probably would have done a different action if I had a unit on board where I can, abuse that if he were to have blocked. He gives the preemptive Gordon, and I take. I just don't have the counter in hand. And it's looking real rough already for me. That Shariah, just me not being able to swing at the RP law freely because of the Shariah, just honestly hurts and slows you down. This deck really runs off of, that aggro play style. And so I'm not seeing my cards. Because like if I could have, rested the Shariah and then swung, that would have been nice. But again, I think the only rest cards I'm running is like a Maru and stuff like that. So I do have a nice play here going. I get that Momo play with the Hiyori, getting to play what I want on the bottom trigger and getting an extra life. So I did stall it out a bit. I'm going now to 10 Dawn next turn. He is at 5 Dawn. So definitely in a better spot for sure. I think we're, moving in the right direction. He swings 6. I take, again, still not having that counter that I need. I forgot what I put under my life there, but he swings 6k there, putting 4 Dawn onto the Gordon. And I'm knowing he's going to bot deck it. So I just block and let it die. Maybe that's the wrong option there. Maybe I just, maybe I put him on using that Gordon, and then so my next unit can have, that extra turn to live. Maybe I don't let the Momo die there. Probably would have been the better option. I reject again just to clear his board. Definitely in a bad spot here. I could have played my lines a little bit different. But again, it's very, not only do I not have the experience on this deck, especially against RP Law, like I don't know how this matchup goes. It's just like, hope they don't see Shariah, I guess. Anyways, my turn was okay. Here the Holy gets bottomed. If he doesn't have that Gordon there, that Holy is a 4k and he can't bottom it, and potentially probably has the game-winning swing for me at the end. But I let the Momo die, and so that Gordon was still on board, which basically gave him the insurance to bottom deck the Holy that I had played, which hurt a lot. I played the trigger there. I have the Hody in hand. He still has 4 in life, so I wish I had an Amaru here. An Amaru wins it for me. After seeing how he counters out, an Amaru 100% wins it for me. So here I can go 1 onto my Cracker, swing 7, 2 onto my leader, swing 7, and then 10 for lead. Or I can go attach 2 to Cracker, swing 8, attach 3 to my leader, swing 8, and then Hody, swing 8. So am I doing 7, 7, 10, or am I doing 8, 8, 8? That was what I was debating here. And honestly, both of those sound really bad, right? 7, 7, 10. Like, okay, if he doesn't have 7, 7, like I have it. But then again, he's getting 4 cards out of life. So the odds are pretty much not in my favor. And so, yeah, he had the block there on the second 7. And that's what I decided to do. It didn't work out for me. I think we go after it over, and he would have lost if he didn't have, or if I had an Amaru. He only had that encounter. I didn't know what the other 2 cards were, so it would have been different, but would have been a lot closer, especially if I had another unit. So now this is game 3. Zoro Sanji. Jim is piloting the Zoro Sanji, so this is a good video, a good match just for you guys to watch. I definitely troll. I think we were just having fun here. I'm already 1-1. He is 2-0 at the time, so I was definitely having fun. Not really caring here. I'm not on my main deck, so I don't have to take it as serious, just because I can, this is my time to have fun, right? So whenever I'm not on this deck, I'm playing Moria, I'm playing now Sokka, obviously, but I'm trying, I'm learning. It's serious mode at all times. Learning, so I get to go to my locals sometimes and make these videos for you guys, which is like a breath of fresh air, right? So and to be completely honest, I didn't know that 3-drop of Ivankov drew you a card on swing. So he was drawing every single time he played that Ivankov and swung with it, which I did not know. I did not know. He kept drawing. I'm like, how does he have so many cards in his hand, right? But not only did uh he draw so many off the Ivankovs, which I didn't know. He high rolls, and yeah, I think he ends up playing 3 in this match. So definitely a crazy high roll on his end. As you can see, he just played the 3rd one, and so I definitely do take over this match. I can probably win it at the end. You guys will see. I was just playing dumb and misplaying, which is fine. You know, it's just a local video. I'm not too upset about it. 2 cards in hand though. He is swinging, and I'm not getting no triggers. I think I barely got any triggers other than the ones I played this day. So definitely not my day. You know, he is at 1 life, so it is pretty good spot to be in, because I'm at 3 life, and I'm like, okay, well, I can counter out a couple of small swings next turn. Momo put the Kiku back. Like, I'm in a good spot here. I can just rush him down in the next couple of turns. I think the biggest issue is, you guys are going to see coming up, I totally just throw. But in my defense, it was a funny throw, and you guys will see in just a moment. But if you guys look at the board state, he has 1 blocker, 1 life. Yeah, he's going to draw probably 3 times here with the Ivankovs, but you know, I have a lot of firepower, so it's not the end of the world, especially if I have a Hody. If I have a Hody and I can just rest that Rosinante, it's just game over, right? Not only did I not see Amaru's, I saw rejects, but never when my opponent was at 1 life, so I never got to experience what the feeling was like playing a reject when your opponent is at 1. And then, so this is the mistake I make, a little misplay. I wanted to get a trigger out of life so bad. I trigger an Amaru, and I actually get another life, thinking I'm going to get a trigger, right, when it's just 1 card. I could have just took the Amaru, took another life, go to 1, I can rest the Rosinante, and then it's just game over, right? And I told him right now, I'm like, oh, watch this. But unfortunately, I'm looking at my swings here. I'm like, wow, you probably have it. Definitely didn't need to Hody. I could have just rested the Rosinante and then gone for game with all my Don, and I probably would have had it, which is fine. But as you can see, I threw really bad. But that is going to be basically this video. He counters out, and then he just beats me. Very poor showing by me, so I apologize. But the next videos coming up, the next leaders we have coming up for the locals videos are going to be insane. Again, I also apologize for the late locals video. I actually top 8'd a regional last Saturday, which was amazing with Gecko Moria. And one last thing, we have the giveaway link down in the description below, so go ahead and click that, join the giveaway. It's going to last for 2 weeks about, but hey guys, I appreciate you guys for all the support. Patreon as well. Look at us, guys. Peep the Patreon, like this video, comment down below what you thought about our matches, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. And then yeah, he just cooks me.